Mr. Mario Van Peebles, MVP, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. I watched Outlaw Posse last night and I loved it. And I needed to ask right off the bat, what is your fountain of youth? Because you look like you stepped right off the set of Posse. You still look good. You have shirtless scenes, you have nude scenes, and I'm like, there's no wrinkles on this guy anywhere. So what do you do to what do you do to keep this youthful look? You and your son look like brothers, and
Wow,
it's
wow.
boggling my mind.
That's wild. That's wild. That's wild. You know what? Everyone's got their own relationship with aging, I think. But I think if you laugh a lot, love a lot,
Mm.
and you're in the business of doing what you love, that's a really good start. And I've been able to do what I love for a living, which is mad cool. They were doing a study on centurions, people that live to be over 100, have both,
Mhm.
basically three things in common. First, sense of humor.
Mm.
I have a sense of humor. Two is yeah, exercise. I love to exercise. And three is they're usually self-employed. They don't have to deal with other people's bullshit too much. So I
Right.
think,
Be your
and
own.
yeah, I think part of it with me is that I feel pretty at home in the world. My mom's white, dad's black, aunt's gay. I got another aunt who's a Trumper. So I grew up having to love everyone. So that diversity doesn't freak me out at all. In fact, I'm at home in it. You know what I mean? So I think if you're at home in the world and you're loving different kinds of food, different kind of music, different kind of movies, you're just feeling at home. And I think that's going to affect how you ultimately age. Um, I guess, what else do I know? I don't know.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You could see
Thank
how
you.
you just look amazing. And you actually bring up a great point because watching this and just having fun with it, because it's hard not to look back on the old West without thinking about the tumultuous relations of everyone back then. But for both Posse and Outlaw Posse, I could see you having so much fun with the genre. And I was wondering, like, despite all the issues that you kind of have to address with being in the old west and stuff like that, what what about the genre, the American Western, appeals to you, and that you can have fun with it?
I think the sense that the Wild Wild West was a place where you could go and sort of carve out a life, that you could go there, and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Now, admittedly, some people didn't have any boots to pull up, you know what I mean? So, you had folks going across to the West in covered wagons, but you had black folks walking with canvas wrapped around their feet, and Native American folks out there, and Chinese folks building the railroad. And of course, our borders moved encompassing Mexico. So we crossed their border, they didn't cross our border.
Right.
So I think so. A couple things. One, this amazing cultural mashup that winds up being America.
Mhm.
I find that very exciting. Again, probably because it reminds me of my family on some level. Um, Two, I think the notion that you could go out there and build a life, and this sense of this American dream, um, and and sort of face off in a sort of more specific way with good versus evil, that you could sort of say, okay, this is what it is. And we do that. I mean, but it's complicated. And that's the thing, is that it was really complicated then and it is complicated now. But I think for me, part of it was there were great parallels between 1908 and what's happening right now. And we play with those obviously in the movie. People say we've never been so divided. Actually, we were more divided then than we are now. And when we go to the Baker Brothers, and my son, we're like most cowboys, we're after the gold, and we have that trajectory. But
Mhm.
along the way, there's opportunities to say when the laws are unjust, the just are outlaws, and we have to deal with some injustices along the way that typically outlaws don't stop and deal with, and yet we do, because we know that there, but for the grace of God, go I. And so things naturally come up that you can deal with in a sort of very specific way. I don't want to give away too much,
Right.
um, but so I think but there's a sense of freedom with the West. There's a sense of hope. There's a sense of not just fighting for the America we've been, but the America we can still be. There's no place like this country where you can do where my family could come in and do what we've done in film. And we just did it because, my grandfather sent my dad to college and he got an education and met my mom, and my dad went on to do what he does, and I got to do it. And so now we're three generations where I did Posse with my dad, and then Outlaw Posse with my son.
Hmm.
And not a lot of fathers and sons get to work together in three generations. It's pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
and in that, part of the fun is to not just entertain, but to edutain. And that's what's exciting to say. Can we naturally do that organically? And organically, things come up all the time.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean that's another point that watching this and seeing that you play off your son a lot in this movie and you have this rapport with him even though you guys look like brothers. I mean, I was just like you guys could have just been brothers in the movie and it wouldn't have missed a beat or anything like that.
Oh, thank you, brother.
But yeah, there's definitely because I've seen your father's films and I grew up with your films and things like that, and then now I'm seeing your son's getting he's established his own career and you're passing the baton, you're getting him involved, and you're in this interesting this unique place where you can see like the voice of your father's generation when he's in his
Right.
filmmaking, your generation, and now the new generation. And I was wondering what have you pulled from just observing the voice of the past, your voice, and then the voice of the people coming up now?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I did Posse, I keep in mind where I was. I had done my first really sort of breakout role with Clint Eastwood in a film called Heartbreak Ridge. And
Yes.
and of course Clint had done all the spaghetti westerns, and we talked at length on the set about westerns.
Mm.
And the first 44 settlers of Los Angeles, 26 were African American, that maybe one out of three, one out of four cowboys was black. And if you look at what he did with Unforgiven, with putting Morgan Freeman in, literally there's the three guys riding across the range, one out of those three cowboys is black. And we talked about that history. And uh, and so I think part of that, I was always interested in the West. And then what happened was, I had done New Jack City and I had heat to do what was I want to do next. And I said, I want to do a Western. They sort of, the press said, oh, it's going to be Old Jack City or Boys in the Saddle, which is a great
You can still
title.
put
But I said,
rappers in there too. So
yeah. And there was a sort of sense of trying to get us to compete for some reason with each other, which people do. What do you think of Spike? What do you think of so and so? What do you think of Singleton? What do you think of the Hudlin brothers?
mhm.
And so with Posse, I brought the Hudlin brothers into the movie, and Charles Lane into the movie, and my mentor Stephen Cannell into the movie, and Blair Underwood into the movie, and Sally Richardson, who became a director, into the movie. And because I like to cast a big tent and go, come on in. And there's always a Baldwin for your budget. So I could afford Stephen Baldwin. So I got Steve, who did a great job. And Tone Loc and Big Daddy Kane. And then, of course, so what I wanted was the posse from the 50s led by Woody Strode, who I loved in Once Upon a Time in the West.
Mm.
And in Sergeant Rutledge, it was the first brother I saw in a Western that didn't shuffle. That was like, oh, he's a real cowboy. So I took Woody Strode and I let him do the intro on, America's a funny place. They got you thinking Columbus discovered America, but there were already people here. That's like me putting my flag on your car and discovering your car. You know what I mean? So when you sort of really unpack the American origin story, it's got some other shades on it, to go, oh, gee, we discovered America, but there were people here. We just moved them out, and we needed some shit built, so we brought some Africans in. So when you really look at it, and women they don't have to vote anyway. So you kind of go, oh wow, we've been more divided than right now. We're going back there, or there's forces that would take us back there if we don't wake up in an election year, and make our country great like the country it can be, not just the country it's been. Okay.
Mhm.
But so what I wanted was to take the history of the 50s with Woody Strode, then the 70s with Isaac Hayes, Pam Grier, Lawrence Cook, Melvin Van Peebles. So that's that posse. And then we're the posse of the 90s, meaning Tone Loc, Blair Underwood, Sally Richardson, Big Daddy Kane, Stephen Baldwin, and Billy Zane, of course, who's the best looking man on the planet. Um, and and make that movie. So now with Outlaw Posse to say, okay, I want to put some badass women in the saddle. That you'll have Queenie, the character of Queenie, who's this rogue bad chick, in the West who can ride, talk smack with the fellas, and has all that stuff. And of course, Whoopi Goldberg, who just owns Stagecoach Mary. And when she saw that, she said, "I'm playing that role." I said, "Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you unless we do it on The View." You know what I mean? So it was just, and then Emmett Walsh and Neil McDonough saying, "I'm going to start the movie out." So when the cast we got for even sort of smaller roles, cameo roles, was really pretty cool. And that means that every role has to say something. Every role has to deserve that close-up. Every role's got to have some magic. And as a filmmaker, actor, director, I try to give the foot rub I want to get. You know what I mean? So if I put someone in the movie, I'm like, oh, what I want to get in this scene? Let me make sure DC Young Fly has that badass opening, that Cedric has that badass opening. You know what I mean? So that each character has their moment. Edward James Olmos has that great laughter that he brings and wisdom that he brings to a role. So part of the fun is knowing that my best acting is reacting, and I've got to be reacting from smart folks, be they William Mapother or John Carroll Lynch or Jake Manley. I've got to have people that can really inhabit those roles, and steel sharpens steel.
Mm.
Yeah.
The ensemble I thought worked amazing together in Posse. I could see Posse and Outlaw Posse, how the ensemble was just a big part of it. It looks like I'm out of time here, but I love talking to you. I think we could talk for hours.
No,
So
totally, brother. Totally,
we got to reconnect for your next project. And I want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to question you. I don't know why I said that, but no,
yeah.
to interview you. Yeah, congratulations on the movie, and I can't wait to talk to you again. So thank you very much for this
Appreciate it. We come Outlaw Posse comes out everywhere March 1st. We are an independent, so we're a feisty independent, but the more we get the word out, the better. So thank you for letting me speak to you, brother.
No problem. I think I might actually get to do one more if you don't.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
On our YouTube channel, we have this show called Real Action where we look at like a bunch of different action movies, under the radar, popular ones, and things like that. One of the movies we're preparing to do was Gunmen. Uh, and I was actually wondering, what memories do you have of doing that movie with Christopher Lambert and that sort of the buddy dynamic with him
Yeah.
and things like
That
that.
was funny. It's interesting because we were talking about in the context of Westerns. I think Gunmen to some degree, tips its hat to Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And that each one of us in the movie, my character, Christoph's character, and the other character, have a piece of the puzzle as to where the cachet of gold is. And so and that leads and we also have serious trust issues, and for good reason. Lambert was fun, man. We had a blast on that movie. He's and you can never understand. The guy should have subtitles. I go to talk to him, I'm like, Chris, what do you think about tu vois? Yeah, it's très bien, tu vois. We go right over there, Mario. You know what I'm saying?
It might be
What
easier
did
for you
he?
to learn
What did he
French.
just say? Yeah, no one knows what he said. But so much fun. We had this scene where we just made up stuff. Like there was a scene where he's trying to get the information on the goal, but he's got me prisoner, and so we're by a campfire at night. My character's asleep, and I'm chained up, and he won't let me free. So I start to doze off, and he's trying to keep awake so he can talk to me because I'm talking, right? So I'm talking in my sleep. I go, the gold, where's the gold? So he comes over to right close to me. He's like, yes, where's the goal? Where's the goal? And I go, and Sarah goes, oh, baby, the goal. But just, I tell you, just give me a kiss. He's like, what? No, where's the goal? And I'm like, just a little kiss. And this Joker starts leaning in. And I was like, you would have kissed me, you stupid son. And we messed with each other, you know. In life, we did that, you know. We just clowned out, and crazy stuff we do would come out. So it was a really fun time. We shot it down in Puerto Vallarta, and which is my mother took me there years ago, my hippie mom, to go through Puerto Vallarta with her, and we just had a blast, man. So it was really good working with him. And then I know, you know, there's a scene where he shoots me in the leg, and later I shoot him in the leg, and so we're both now limping. And it's one of those things, you know, eye for an eye, the whole world is blind. Leg for leg, now both you jokers are limping, and the bad guys on your ass. You
I
know,
mean,
so
that's what happens when you're fighting each other instead of
yeah,
the
it's a
other.
metaphor for humanity right now. I think,
Mhm.
you know, and with climate change and all the other stuff, you know, we tend to shoot each other in the leg a little bit. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the reality. Well, thank you so much. That's actually all that I have right now. So I want to thank you again for your time and for giving me the opportunity to talk. And yeah, definitely whenever you have your next project coming out, uh,
Please.
I'm gonna shoot a branch and hopefully you'll come
Oh,
over. So,
sounds good, brother. Sounds good.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Bye bye.
All right, bye.